Hello there. Come in, come in. Find a comfortable spot. It's Silas, by the way. It's good to be with you today. I'm sitting here in my old study with the afternoon sun warming the floorboards. In my hands, I'm holding a ledger book from my early years as an accountant. The pages are thin now and the corners are soft with age. The columns are filled with my younger self's precise, careful handwriting, tracking every penny that came in and every penny that went out. I built a career on the idea that if you could just get the numbers to line up in the right columns, life would make sense. It would be balanced. I was a good accountant, but it took me a long, long life to learn that the most important accounts we keep have nothing to do with money. The real ledger, the one that measures a life, tracks things like joy and peace and time well spent. At 80 years old, I can tell you that the currency of your 50s and 60s is different from the currency of your 20s. And the currency of your 80s, well, it's the most precious of all. It's time, and it's a currency you can't afford to waste. So today, I wanted to share a few thoughts from an old man who spent half his life counting dollars and the other half learning what is truly priceless. A few things I gently suggest you stop wasting your money on so that you can invest it in what truly matters. Number one, the endless chase for what is new. We live in a world that shouts at us to upgrade. A new phone, a new car, a new kitchen with countertops that are all the rage this year. The message is relentless. What you have is not enough. It's old, it's dated. You are dated. And for a while we can get caught on that treadmill, can't we? We run and run, spending our hard-earned money just to keep up, only to find the finish line has moved again. The truth is, the pursuit of new is exhausting. It promises satisfaction, but only delivers a momentary thrill, followed by the next nagging feeling of inadequacy. I look around this home that my wife Mary and I have shared for nearly 60 years. Very little of it is new. That armchair in the corner, the one with the worn fabric on the arms, it's been with us since our first child was born. It has rocked crying babies to sleep. It has been a fortress in children's games, and it has held me through long nights of worry. A few years back, a leg came loose. My friend Elias, you may know of him, he's a wonderful woodworker. He came over. He didn't tell me to throw it out. He looked at it, ran his hand over the old wood, and said, this one has stories. Let's make sure it can hold a few more. He mended it. He made it strong again. Elias understands that things of quality aren't meant to be replaced, but repaired. They are meant to collect memories, not dust. What I'm gently suggesting is to step off the treadmill, invest in quality, in things that will last. But more than that, invest in things that hold your story. The beauty of a home isn't in its trendiness, it's in its authenticity. It's in the quilt your grandmother made, the table you share meals at, the garden trowel covered in the dirt of your own yard. These things don't lose value over time. They accrue it. It might be worth asking yourself when you feel the pull to buy something new. Am I trying to build a life or just decorate a house? Number two, the need to impress people you don't truly know. When I was a younger man, I once bought a car that was far too expensive for me. It was sleek and shiny, and I remember the feeling of pride as I drove it off the lot. I thought it would make me look successful to my colleagues, to my neighbors. And perhaps it did for a moment. But I also remember the quiet, gnawing anxiety in the pit of my stomach every month when the payment was due. The stress of it far outweighed the joy of owning it. The most memorable drives from that time of my life weren't in that fancy car. They were in our old, slightly dented family sedan, with Mary beside me and the children in the back on our way to a simple picnic. The value wasn't in the vehicle, it was in the company. We spend so much of our lives, especially in our middle years, performing. We host parties that are more for show than for connection. We buy clothes with logos that shout a price tag to strangers. We curate an image of a life that we think others will admire. But the validation we get from people who don't know our hearts is like drinking salt water when you're thirsty. It never, ever satisfies. My dear friend Arthur, who lost his beloved Eleanor some years ago, often sits in his armchair holding her old teacup. It's a simple thing, white with little blue forget-me-nots. It's chipped. It's worth nothing in a store. But in his hands, it is a sacred object. It holds the warmth of her touch, the memory of her humming as she arranged flowers. He isn't trying to impress anyone with that cup. He's trying to honor a love that shaped his soul. The peace that comes from letting go of the need for outside approval is one of the great gifts of growing older. It's a profound freedom. So before you make a purchase, it can be helpful to pause and ask that quiet question. Who am I truly buying this for? If the answer is someone whose name you'll forget in a year, or a neighbor you only wave to, perhaps that money and the energy that came with it could be better spent. Number 3, an overabundance of convenience. Now, this may sound like a contradiction in our modern world. Convenience is supposed to be the ultimate luxury, and Lord knows there are seasons in life, when you have young children or when you're caring for an ailing parent, where convenience is a lifeline, a true blessing, but it can also become a habit, a default setting that quietly robs us of simple, grounding joys. We pay a premium for someone else to chop our vegetables, to deliver our coffee, to do the things we are perfectly capable of doing ourselves. And in buying back our time, we sometimes sell away our connection to the real world. We miss the rhythmic, meditative thump of a knife on a cutting board. We miss the smell of coffee brewing in our own kitchen in the morning. Mary and I, we started making our own bread a few years ago. It began as a small experiment, but it has become a cherished ritual. The simple act of kneading the dough, of feeling it come to life in my hands, it connects me to something elemental. The smell that fills our home as it bakes is more comforting than any store-bought air freshener. And the taste of a warm slice with a bit of butter melting into it, it's a small, profound joy. We didn't start doing it to save money, though it does. We started doing it to slow down, to create something together with our own hands. It reminds me of what our friend Clara is learning. She had a very important career, always running, always on. In her retirement, she has taken up watercolor painting. She says it is teaching her the art of being a beginner, of being gloriously inefficient. Her first paintings, she says with a laugh, were a mess of muddy colors. But the joy wasn't in producing a masterpiece. The joy was in the process itself. The quiet hours spent with brush and paper, learning to see the world in a new way. It is, as she calls it, a quieter skill. Perhaps there's a small, simple task you could reclaim this week. It's not about depriving yourself of convenience. It's about gifting yourself the simple, grounding pleasure of process. If something in this is resonating with you, I'd be so grateful to know. You might just type "I'm listening" in the comments below so we know we're in this together. It helps to know we are not alone on this path. Number 4, holding on to things out of guilt. This is a subtle one. It's not always about spending money, but about the cost of keeping things. I'm talking about the storage unit filled with furniture that doesn't fit your life anymore. The boxes in the attic filled with inherited items that you don't love but feel too guilty to part with. The monthly subscriptions that drain from your bank account for services you never use. Our physical and financial spaces are deeply connected to our spiritual and emotional ones. Clutter isn't just a physical problem. It has weight. It weighs on our minds, our energy, our souls, and letting go is a form of liberation. When my own parents passed on, Mary and I had the enormous task of clearing out the home they had lived in for 50 years. Every object seemed sacred at first. Every chipped plate and faded photograph felt like a betrayal to give away. The guilt was immense. But as we worked, we realized something. My parents were not in these things. Their love, their legacy was in us, in our memories. We chose a few things to keep that held true, joyful memories. My father's favorite reading lamp, my mother's recipe box. The rest, we let go. We passed them on to young families just starting out, to charities, to people who could give them a new life. And with every carload we took away, the house felt lighter. Our hearts felt lighter. It was a powerful lesson in stewardship. The good book teaches us that we are merely stewards of the things we possess. They are given to us to use for a season, to serve a purpose. When that purpose is finished, our job is not to hoard them in a tomb of guilt, but to release them to serve someone new. I gently encourage you to do a quiet audit of your own life. Look at your bank statements, your closets, your attic. Ask of each thing, does this serve the life I live now? Does it bring me joy, or does it weigh me down? Give yourself the grace and the permission to let go. The freedom you will find on the other side is worth more than any object. Number 5, delaying joy. This is the most important one. It is the greatest expense of all because it costs us the one resource we can never ever get back: time. We spend so much of our lives saying, someday, I'll take that trip, someday when the children are grown. I'll start that hobby, someday when I have more time. I'll spend more quality time with the people I love, someday when work isn't so busy. We treat joy as a reward to be earned after a lifetime of hard work, rather than the fuel that should be powering us through it. We delay our spending on experiences in favor of accumulating things. But I have never met a man on his deathbed who wished he had one more car in his garage. I have, however, known many who wished they had taken one more trip or had one more Christmas with their family. For years, Mary and I dreamed of seeing the ocean in winter. We always found a reason to put it off. It was too expensive. It wasn't the right time. The roof needed fixing. We had a long list of sensible reasons. Then I had a health scare. Nothing major in the end, thank the Lord. But it was a whisper from God, a gentle reminder that our some days are not guaranteed. The very next month, we got in the car and we drove to the coast. It wasn't a fancy trip. We stayed in a modest motel. We ate simple food, but I will never forget the sight of the waves crashing on that cold, empty beach. I will never forget the feeling of Mary's hand in mine. Both of us bundled in coats with the wind whipping tears from our eyes. That memory is more valuable to me than any stock certificate. We didn't just spend money on that trip. We invested it in our shared story. Don't wait. Don't put off joy. Money is a tool. It is a renewable resource. You can always earn more of it. You can never ever earn more time. Identify what brings you and the people you love true, deep, soul-filling joy. Is it travel? Is it learning something new? Is it simply being present with your grandchildren? Whatever it is, make a plan to spend your resources on it now. Not someday. Now. That is the wisest investment you will ever make. So those are the reflections of an old accountant. To stop spending on newness, on impressing others, on excessive convenience, on guilt, and most of all, on the illusion of someday. But this isn't really about being frugal. It's not about deprivation. It is about intention. It's about taking that old ledger book and changing the columns. Instead of tracking credits and debits, you begin to track what truly enriches your life and what depletes it. You begin to understand that the best use of God's blessings is not to hoard them, but to sow them into a life of purpose, connection, and joy. The true wealth of a life is measured in the warmth of its relationships, the depth of its memories, and the peace in its heart. It's the richness of a life well lived, a faith well kept, and a love generously shared. That is the only balance sheet that matters in the end. Thank you for spending a few minutes with me today, for sharing this quiet space. The journey of finding what truly matters, as we've talked about, begins with looking inward. Be gentle with yourself this week. If you're ready to take that first gentle step on your own path of reflection, I've created something just for you. It's a free guide called The First 5 Questions, a gentle guide to rediscovering your story. It's designed to help you begin this exact process in a quiet and meaningful way. You can download it right now for free from the link in the description or at eldersecos.com. Please open your app to see this link. Be gentle with yourself this week.